Chosen one. The mysterious particles are approaching to strike you. Hang this or regret. In the quiet suburbs of Denver, Colorado, Jake Harlan lived what most people would call an ordinary life. 32 years old, worked remote IT support, paid his bills on time, scrolled through his phone too much. But lately, something felt off. Dreams came every night, blinding white light, voices whispering his name like wind through cracked glass, and always the same message. They are coming. Prepare. He brushed it off as stress until the night the sky above his neighborhood shimmered. It started as a faint aurora, unnatural for mid-October. Then the news apps blew up, reports of strange lights over the Rockies, unexplained static on every radio station, phones glitching with the same looping text, "Chosen one, hang this or regret." Jake stared at his screen, heart hammering. The message was everywhere. His lock screen, his email signature, even carved faintly into the condensation on his kitchen window. No one else seemed to see it the way he did. His coworkers joked about solar flares. His sister texted, "You okay? You sound weird." But Jake knew. Deep in his bones, he knew. That night, he couldn't sleep. Around 3:17 a.m., the air in his bedroom thickened, like stepping into a fog made of electricity. Tiny sparks danced along the walls, golden, silent, drifting like fireflies from another world. They weren't random. They moved with purpose, circling him, probing, waiting. He froze under the covers. The particles spoke without sound, straight into his mind. "You were marked at birth, Jacob Harlan. The bloodline of the old Watchers runs in you. We are the emissaries of alignment, the particles that separate the chosen from the forgotten. We approach to test, to strike, to awaken, or to end." Jake's mouth went dry. "What do you want?" "Hang this, or regret forever." A single particle hovered inches from his face, brighter than the rest. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Inside it, he saw flashes, himself as a kid finding a lost wallet and returning it with every dollar intact. The night he talked his best friend out of the darkest thoughts. The quiet moments he helped strangers without expecting thanks. Small acts, invisible to the world, but not to whatever force sent these things. Then, darker visions. Futures where he ignored the call, where the particles passed him by and his life unraveled, job gone, relationships shattered, a slow fade into nothing. Regret like acid in his veins. The brightest particle extended a thread of light toward his hand. It didn't burn. It felt like warm recognition. "Hang this," it repeated. "Claim your place. The estrangement is mercy for the worthy. Refusal is erasure." Jake's fingers trembled. He thought of every time he'd played it safe, stayed quiet, let chances slip. He thought of the voice in his dreams that always said, "You were made for more." He reached out. The moment his skin touched the light, the particles exploded inward, not destructive, but merging. Golden fire raced through his veins, not pain, but power. Memories unlocked he never knew he had. Ancestors who stood against storms, healers in forgotten villages, quiet guardians who shaped history from the shadows. His apartment dissolved into blinding white. When it cleared, he stood on a mountain ridge under a sky full of stars that moved like living things. The particles swirled around him, no longer threatening, now an extension of himself. A final voice, calm and ancient. "You hung it. You chose. The alignment begins. Protect what matters. The world will not understand, but it will need you." Jake woke up on his bedroom floor, sunlight streaming through the blinds. His phone was normal again. No weird texts, no glitches. But on the wall above his bed, etched faintly in golden residue that only he could see, a simple symbol, a reminder. He didn't tell anyone, not yet. But from that day on, when someone needed help, really needed it, Jake was there. No hesitation, no questions, because he knew what waited if he ever turned away again. The mysterious particles had struck, and he had survived. He had chosen. In the sprawling suburbs of Denver, Colorado, where the Rocky Mountains loomed like silent guardians over cookie-cutter houses and strip malls, Jake Harlan had built a life that screamed ordinary. At 32, he was the guy you forgot 5 minutes after meeting him. Medium height, sandy hair starting to thin at the temples, eyes the color of faded denim. He worked from home as an IT support specialist for a mid-tier software company, troubleshooting glitches for frustrated clients across time zones. His days blurred into a routine. Coffee at dawn, endless Zoom calls, microwave dinners, and binge-watching true crime docs until his eyelids drooped. Weekends? Grocery runs, maybe a hike if the weather held, but mostly scrolling through social media, liking posts from old high school buddies who'd somehow escaped the grind. But lately, the ordinary had cracked. It started with the dreams. Every night for the past month, Jake would jolt awake in a cold sweat, his heart pounding like a war drum. The visions were always the same, a vast, starless void stretching out forever, pierced by streaks of blinding white light. Voices echoed in his head, not human, not quite alien, whispering his full name, Jacob Elias Harlan, like a chant from some forgotten ritual. And always that cryptic warning, they are coming, prepare. He'd shake it off in the morning, blaming it on too much screen time or that extra beer before bed. Just stress, he'd mutter to his reflection in the bathroom mirror, splashing cold water on his face. But deep down, a nagging doubt gnawed at him. What if it wasn't? Then came the night everything changed. It was a crisp October evening, the kind where the air smelled like pine and impending snow. Jake was lounging on his worn leather couch, half watching a Broncos game rerun, when his phone buzzed incessantly. Not a call or text, glitches. His screen flickered, apps crashing one by one. He rebooted, but the chaos spread. His laptop froze, the TV staticked out, even the smart fridge in the kitchen beeped erratically. Outside, the neighborhood streetlights dimmed, then surged brighter than daylight. Jake stepped onto his porch, peering up at the sky. What he saw stole his breath. An unnatural aurora rippled across the heavens, not the gentle greens and purples of the northern lights, but sharp, jagged bolts of gold and silver, like veins of lightning frozen in place. His phone vibrated again, this time displaying a message that looped across every app, every notification. Chosen one, the mysterious particles are approaching to strike you. Hang this or regret. It wasn't a spam text. It embedded itself in his wallpaper, his email headers, even the digital clock on his microwave. Panic rising, Jake called his sister Mia in Boulder. "You seeing this weird light show?" he asked, voice shaky. "Yeah, it's all over the news. Some solar flare or atmospheric anomaly," she replied casually. "Why, you freaking out?" He hesitated. "Nah, just my tech's acting up. Must be interference." But when he hung up, he knew it was more. No one else mentioned the messages. His coworkers in the company Slack channel joked about alien invasions and end times, but their screens were fine. It was targeted. At him. Sleep evaded him that night. He paced his small two-bedroom apartment, the one he'd rented after his divorce 3 years ago, empty now except for a few framed photos of better days and a dying ficus plant in the corner. Around 3:17 a.m., the air shifted. It grew heavy, charged like the buildup before a thunderstorm. Tiny sparks ignited in the darkness, golden flecks no bigger than dust motes, floating through the cracks under his door, seeping from the vents. They multiplied, swirling into a luminous cloud that filled the room. Jake backed against the wall, his breath coming in short gasps. These weren't fireflies or hallucinations. They pulsed with intelligence, moving in synchronized patterns, encircling his bed like a noose of light. The particles didn't speak aloud. Their communication bypassed his ears, drilling straight into his mind, a chorus of ethereal voices, ancient and indifferent, like echoes from the birth of the universe. "Jacob Harlan," they intoned, "you were marked at birth. The bloodline of the Watchers flows through you, guardians of thresholds, keepers of alignments. We are the emissaries, particles born from the cosmic forge, sent to test the chosen. We approach to strike, to awaken the potential, or to erase the unworthy." Jake's knees buckled. He slid to the floor, staring at the swirling mass. "What the hell are you? Why me?" The particles responded with visions, flooding his thoughts like a high-definition montage. He saw his life in fragments, as a boy in rural Kansas finding a lost wallet stuffed with cash and turning it in without a second thought, earning a quiet nod from the old farmer who'd lost it. High school, where he talked his best friend Tommy off a bridge during a midnight crisis, sharing stories until dawn broke. College, anonymously donating his last paycheck to a classmate's medical fund. Adulthood, pulling over to help a stranded motorist in a blizzard, or listening to a coworker vent about her crumbling marriage without judgment. Small acts of kindness, threads of integrity woven through a mundane existence, invisible to most, but not to these entities. Then the visions darkened, alternate futures unspooled, Jake ignoring the call, the particles retreating, his job evaporating in a corporate layoff he couldn't fight, relationships fraying, Mia drifting away, old friends ghosting him, a slow spiral into isolation, regret festering like an open wound until he became a shadow of himself, whispering what if in empty rooms. The particle's strike wasn't destruction, it was judgment, a forge that either tempered the soul or shattered it. One particle detached from the swarm, hovering inches from his face. It glowed brighter, warmer, revealing a core of swirling symbols, ancient runes that Jake somehow understood. "Hang this," the voices urged. "Claim the thread. Bind yourself to the alignment, or be severed from it forever." Jake's hand trembled as he reached out. Doubt screamed in his head. "This is crazy. Hallucinations. Call a doctor." But a deeper instinct pulled him forward, the same quiet voice that had guided those small acts of good. His fingers brushed the particle. No shock, no burn. Instead, a rush of liquid fire surged through his veins, illuminating every nerve. The swarm converged, merging with him in a symphony of light and sound. Memories unlocked like floodgates bursting, not just his own, but ancestral echoes. A great-grandfather in the Old West standing against a lynch mob to protect an innocent man. A distant aunt in wartime Europe smuggling refugees through hidden paths. Lineage of unsung heroes, watchers who balanced the scales in subtle ways, preventing disasters, nurturing hope, all without fanfare. Jake gasped as power coursed through him, heightened senses, glimpses of probabilities, an innate understanding of connections between people, events, the cosmos itself. The room dissolved into white oblivion. When reality reformed, Jake stood atop a jagged peak in the Rockies, wind whipping his clothes. The sky above was alive, stars not fixed, but dancing in patterns that spelled out destinies. The particles, now extensions of his will, swirled around him like loyal guardians. The ancient voice returned, resonant and approving. "You hung it. You chose the thread. The alignment is yours to wield. The world teeters on edges you now see. Protect the fragile balances. Strike where mercy demands. Others will come, chosen or not. Guide them, or let them regret." Jake awoke on his bedroom floor as dawn painted the walls pink. The particles were gone, but their residue lingered, a faint golden symbol etched into the skin of his palm, visible only to him. A stylized hook, a reminder to hang onto his path. His phone was back to normal, no glitches, no messages. The news dismissed the lights as a rare geomagnetic storm. Life resumed its facade. But Jake was transformed. He quit his soul-sucking job that week, starting a non-profit for at-risk youth, drawing on his new insights to spot those on the brink, pulling them back with uncanny precision. When a colleague faced eviction, Jake anonymously covered the rent, watching the ripple effects mend a family. On hikes, he'd sense imbalances, averting a hiker's fall here, mediating a stranger's argument there. Subtle interventions, but profound. Months later, during a fierce blizzard, the dreams returned. Another chosen one nearby, teetering. The particles whispered, "They approach her.
Guide or let regret claim her. Jake smiled faintly, tracing the symbol on his palm. He grabbed his coat and stepped into the storm. The alignment called, and he would answer. No regrets.